Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the class. So today we will be discussing some important previous year questions of UGC NET Sociology. And today we are particularly discussing questions from Unit 1 Sociological Theory. So as you know, this is the most important or the foundational unit of sociology. Like in this unit, we study about different sociologists, the most important sociologists. We learn about different theories, different concepts of sociology, etc. So this is the most important and foundational unit of sociology. Okay, and we will be discussing the most important previous year questions from this unit, Unit 1 Sociological Theory. Okay, so let's start. Question 1. Which of the following are the four institutional imperatives according to Robert K. Norton? Okay, you have studied about institutional imperatives proposed by R.K. Merton. So here we have five options. Among this, one is not mentioned by R.K. Merton, or one is not a part of the institutional imperatives proposed by Merton. So you have to find which one is that. And the options are universalism, particularism, communism, disinterestedness, and organized skepticism. Okay, you have to find which four of these are the institutional imperatives proposed by R.K. Merton. So, to answer this question, you should know what is institutional imperatives. Okay, so R.K. Merton identified a set of institutional imperatives, or we can call them as, or they are similar to certain norms which guide the scientific community, or which would guide the process of research. And by following these imperatives, or by following these norms, it would make sure that the research or the pursuit of knowledge will remain objective. Okay, no subjective. It will make sure that no subjectivity is there in the research. It would make sure that the research would remain objective and beneficial to society. Okay, and these are the key institutional imperatives Merton outlined. First one is universalism. It can be defined as the scientific validity of a claim does not depend on who makes it, but on universal criteria. Okay, we can define universalism as this. And it means that knowledge claims, or the knowledge must be evaluated based on the pre-established objective standards without regard to the status, identity, or background of the claimant, or the person who is making the scientific invention, or the making the we can call it as the scientific claim or knowledge claim. So it simply means that the scientific validity or a knowledge must be validated based on the previous existing knowledge or the previous existing studies. But the validity of a knowledge does not depend on the person who is making that claim. Okay, that is universalism. Second is communalism. We can call it as communism also. It can be defined as scientific knowledge is the product of social collaboration and it should be shared publicly, which means that all the discoveries and findings in the field of knowledge, it should be, or it should be treated as a communal asset. Okay, and it should be openly shared for the collective benefit. Knowledge should be approached as a communal asset. Okay, and it should be shared with each other. Knowledge is not something which to keep in secret. It's not like that. It should be treated as a communal asset. It should be shared with everyone else. Okay. Then another one is disinterestedness. So it means that scientists should act for the benefit of the common scientific enterprise, not for personal gain. So the researchers are expected to maintain objectivity. Okay, the researchers are expected to maintain objectivity and also impartiality. Okay, and they should avoid their own personal interest interfering with their study. Okay, or simply we can say researchers should avoid bias. Their study should be objective, or they should keep a disinterestedness towards the study. Okay, then another one is organized skepticism. It means that all scientific claims should be critically scrutinized before acceptance. Okay, so the scientists should question and they should test all ideas regardless of their origin or the authority of the source. Okay, that is organized skepticism. So these are the key institutional imperatives outlined by Merton. Okay, so here the odd one out is, of course, option B, particularism. It is not mentioned by Merton. So our answer is universalism, communism, disinterestedness, and organized skepticism. So we can go with option 3, A, C, D, and E. Okay. Now, next question. Michel Foucault has used which of the following concepts? Option A, governmentality and biopolitics. Option B, biopolitics and life world. Option C, sovereignty and discipline. Option D, archaeology of discourse and solidarity. Okay, even among these four options, you have to find out the concepts used by Foucault. Okay, so if you look at the options, we can say that first option A, governmentality and biopolitics. So Foucault is famous, or Foucault is known for using these two concepts of governmentality and biopolitics and sovereignty and discipline. So what is this governmentality and biopolitics? So governmentality refers to the ways in which the state exercise control over the population and the various techniques and strategies the state used to govern the people. That is governmentality. That biopolitics means the biopolitics it concerns the governance of population through the management of life, health, and biological processes, which means that the control of population or the control of the people through managing their life, health, and biological processes. That is biopolitics. Then the concept of sovereignty and discipline. So Foucault discusses the concept of sovereignty in terms of traditional forms of power, like such as the right of the sovereign to decide life and death. Okay, then the discipline refers to the mechanisms of power that regulate the behavior of individuals in the society through surveillance and normalization. Okay, so that's the concept of sovereignty and discipline according to Foucault. So these two are the concepts used by Michel Foucault. So we can go with option 1, A and C. Next question. According to Manuel Castells, information revolution is option A new social order. Option B, a network society. Option C, legitimation crisis. According to Manuel Castells, what is information revolution is? And the right answer is, okay, so here Manuel, if you look at the question, it is talking about information revolution. So Manuel Castells actually used the exact term network society to describe the new social structure which is forming or which is emerging as a result of the information revolution. Okay, so he used the term network society to denote the society or the social structure which is forming as a result of the information revolution. So of course he used a network society. Then a new social order. As a result of this information revolution, a new social order is formed. So of course it is also related to Manuel Castells. But then the third option, legitimation crisis, it is actually related to Habermas. Okay, so according to Habermas, this legitimation crisis means it is a situation where the governing system loses the trust and consent of the public. Okay, so legitimation crisis is related to Habermas. So here we can go with option 1, A and B, a new social order and a network society. It is related to information revolution according to Manuel Castells. Okay, next question. Who gave the concept of plastic sexuality? And the options are Ulrich Beck, Sigmund Bauman, Anthony Giddens, and David Matthew. Let's check the answer. So, plastic sexuality, the concept of plastic sexuality is given by Anthony Giddens. And this plastic sexuality means it is a form of sexuality which is free from or which is different from the traditional form of sexuality or from the traditional constraints of sexuality. So traditionally, sexuality is usually treated as something which is only for or related to reproduction, like that. But plastic sexuality is something which is free from this traditional norms of reproduction and all. Okay, and this plastic sexuality allow individuals to explore their sexual experiences based on their personal choices, preferences, and identity. And the characteristics of plastic sexuality include decoupling from reproduction, which means that in the traditional norms of sexuality, it was related to reproduction. Like sexuality is something only for reproducing the next generation. But plastic sexuality decouples sexuality from reproduction. Then it is flexible. People can follow their own choices, preferences, interest, and all. So it is very flexible and de-traditionalization. It is opposite of the traditional norms of sexuality. Okay, then here we have if you look at the other options, first one is Ulrich Beck, and some of his major concepts are risk society and individualization. Then the other option was Zygmunt Bauman, and some of his major concepts were liquid modernity and fluidity of social relationships. Okay, so the right answer for our question, the concept of plastic sexuality, is given by Anthony Giddens. Okay. Next question. Who is the author of Myth and Meaning? And the options are Malinowski, Claude Lévi-Strauss, S.F. Nadel, and A.R. Radcliffe Brown. And the answer is Claude Lévi-Strauss. Okay, he wrote this book, Myth and Meaning, and it was first published in the year 1978. Next question. Which book on research methodology was written by Emile Durkheim that is considered one of his first works? Okay, so Durkheim has written a famous book on research methodology, and that book is considered as one of his first work and one of his major work. Okay, which one is that? And the options are Methods in Social Research, Research Methods in Social Relations, Rules of Sociological Method, and Research Methodology in Social Sciences. And the right answer is Rules of Sociological Method. Okay, it was written by Durkheim and it was first published in 1895. Then Methods in Social Research is written by William J. Good and Paul K. Hatt and was published in 1952. Then Research Methods in Social Relations was published in 1959 and it was written by Claire Seltis, Lawrence S. Reitzman, and Stuart W. Cook. Okay, so right answer is option C, Rules of Sociological Method. Next question. So it's a statement. All truths are ideologically biased. All truths ultimately reflect the interest and biases of social groups. Whose views are this? Who's said this statement, or whose view is this? All truths are ideologically biased, and all truth reflects or all truths are influenced by the interest and biases of the social groups. And the options are Karl Marx, Karl Manning, Charles Lamert, and Clifford Gates. And the right answer is Karl Manning. Okay, so he gave this view in his book Ideology and Utopia. Okay. Next question. Who defined class as when a number of people have in common a specific causal component of their life chances? Whose definition of class is this? And the options are Karl Marx, Max Weber, Frederick Engels, and Antonio Gramsci. Let's look at the answer. Okay, so if you look here, a keyword which we can find here is life chances. Okay, so who used the term life chances, or who used the concept of life chances in his definition of class? Here, Max Weber. Okay, so according to Max Weber, class is determined by one's economic position and the impact of this position on their life chances. Okay, and this economic position is influenced by different factors like wealth, occupation, and education. So here it is clear that Weber uses the concept of life chances in defining class. Okay, then Karl Marx defined class in terms of ownership of the means of production and the relationship between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Okay, and Marx focused on the economic side of class definition, okay, or on the economic and exploitative dimensions of class. Okay, then Engels focused on class in terms of economic relationships similar to Marx, and he also focused on the conflicts between social classes. Then Antonio Gramsci is famous for his concept of cultural hegemony and the role of ideology in maintaining power. So it is clear that our answer is Max Weber. He defined class as when a number of people have in common a specific causal component of their life chances. Okay. To our next question. The doctoral thesis of Dr. Ambedkar is entitled as what was the name of Ambedkar's doctoral thesis? And the options are Ancient Indian Commerce, State and Minorities, Annihilation of Caste, Commercial Relations of India, and the Problem of Rupee, its origin and its solution. Let's check the answer. So the right answer is option B, the Problem of Rupee, its origin and its solution. That is the title of Ambedkar's doctoral thesis. Okay. Next question. According to Goffman, when passers-by glance at one another quickly and then look away again, it is called. So, Goffman introduced a concept in which he described it as when people were walking in a street or walking in a place, they just glance at each other and look away quickly. What is this called? And the options are disengagement, interaction, symbolic interaction, or civil inattention. Okay, so the right answer is civil inattention. So it means that the people actually acknowledge each other's presence, but in a non-intrusive way. They are not going to talk to them, or they are not intruding their privacy or nothing. But people just looking or glancing at them, they acknowledge that okay, there are other peoples there, but still they maintain a social distance while still recognizing the other person's existence. Okay, this is known as civil inattention. Okay. Next question. Mead delineates three stages in which the concepts of self arises and develops. The stage of imitative acts, the play stage, and so Mead actually introduced three stages of self-development in his theory of socialization, and two stages are given here, the stage of imitative acts and the play stage. Which one is the third stage? And the options are skill stage, adult stage, game stage, infant stage. Okay, so these are the three stages. The preparatory stage, which we can also call as the imitating stage, then the play stage, and the final stage is the game stage. Okay, so in this preparatory stage, children actually imitate the behaviors of others like parents and other family members around them. But they don't know what they are doing, or they don't know the meaning of their actions, but they are simply mimicking the actions which they are observing. Okay. Then in the play stage, children begin to take on the roles of specific people. Like we all used to do that. Like when we were playing, we used to play as teacher, or like our parents, or like shopkeepers. So this in this stage, they begin to take on the roles of specific people. Okay. And in this stage, children start to understand and practice the certain expectations associated with different roles, but their understanding is only limited to one role at a time. That is the speciality of play stage. But when they reach the game stage, they start to grasp the concept of multiple roles, and they understand how these roles interact within a structured context. Okay, so these three are the stages of self development. So, right answer is option C, game stage. Next question. According to R.K. Merton, manifest functions are. What are manifest functions? Option A, partially intended and recognized, not intended and not recognized, partially intended and partially recognized. So I hope all of you are familiar with manifest functions and latent functions. So manifest functions are the functions which are intended, explicit, and observable functions of a social structure or action. They would be very clear and recognized by the members of the society. For example, the manifest function of a school is to provide knowledge and skills to the student. That is the manifest function, or the very intended and visible or observable function of a school. But latent functions, on the other hand, means unintended, implicit, or hidden functions. Okay, they are not observable or obvious. For example, we talked about the manifest functions of a school, but schools also have some latent functions. Like schools not only provide knowledge or teach skills to students, but it also act as a place for the kids to develop their social networking or their social relations, or schools teach them different social values, like that. So these are the hidden or unintended functions of a school, and this type of functions are known as latent functions. Okay, so our answer is manifest functions are intended and recognized functions. Okay. Next question. In his theory of structuration, Giddens focuses on. Theory of structuration, what Anthony Giddens focuses on what? And the options are structural dualism, duality of structure, dichotomous relationship, binary oppositions. And the right answer is option B, duality of structure. Okay, in theory of structuration, Giddens focuses on the duality of structure. And duality of structure means how these social structures shape and are shaped by human practices. So it is like a two-way process. Okay, so the social structure shape human practices, or the way in which people behave in a society, and also this human practices would uh, in return influence these social structures. Okay, so it is like a give and take process. That is the duality of structure. Next question. Who has written the book Phenomenology of Mind? And the answer is GWF Hegel. Okay, and this book was published in 1807. And Phenomenology of Mind explored the development of consciousness and self-awareness, and it aims to understand the nature of human experience and knowledge. Okay, so try to remember these books and their authors. It's really important. Next question. Which theory among the following states that people are motivated by self-interest in the interactions with other people? Okay, which theory is related to this? People are motivated by self-interest in the interactions with other people. And the options are option A, conflict, option B, exchange theory, option C, interaction theory, option D, structural theory. And the right answer is option B, exchange theory. So this theory states that people engage in relationships, or people engage in social exchanges, or people interact with other people with an expectation of gaining something of value in return. Always people accept something return when they are interacting with other or when they are creating a new social relationship. Okay, so that is exchange theory. Next question. Which of the following is not the work of Michel Foucault? So 4 works are given here. Among this, you have to find the work which is not written by Foucault. And the options are Discipline and Punish, Raiding Capital, The Order of Things, and The Madness and Civilization. Among this, 3 of these are written by Foucault. Discipline and Punish, published in 1975. The Order of Things, published in 1966. Madness and Civilization, published in 1961. 3 of these are written by Foucault. Then Raiding Capital is written by Althusser and it was published in 1965. Okay. Next question. Which scholar is associated with the term thick description? Okay. Thick description is related to which sociologist? And the options are Karl Manning, Alfred Schutz, Erving Goffman, and Clifford Geertz. And the right answer is option D, Clifford Geertz. Okay, so this thick description means how ethnographers can give detailed or in-depth, context-rich accounts of social actions. And they are not just explaining the behavior, but these ethnographers are also explaining the significance of the subject which they are studying in a cultural context. Okay, that is what thick description is. Detailed, context-rich accounts of social actions provided by ethnographers. Next question. Kula exchange is associated with which tribe? Okay, we have studied about Kula exchange in several classes. It is a very famous concept in sociology, famous topic in sociology. So it is related to which tribe? And the options are Crowe tribes, Azande tribes, Ticopians, and Trobriand Islanders. So the Kula exchange is related to Trobriand Islanders. Okay, and this exchange or this ceremony is extensively studied by Malinowski, Bronislaw Malinowski. So the Kula exchange, it is a ceremonial exchange or it is a traditional exchange system practiced in the Trobriand Islands of Papua New Guinea. Okay, so that is the Kula exchange. Next question. Who wrote the book Caste and Race in India? And the options are A.R. Desai, G.S. Ghure, Louis Dumas, or none of the above. And the right answer is G.S. Ghure. Okay, so one thing which you have to keep in your mind is that actually there are 2 books in the same title or same name, Caste and Race in India. Okay, Ghure wrote a book, Caste and Race in India, and it was published in 1932. But Ambedkar has also written a book named Caste and Race in India, and it was published in 1946. So here in the options, Ambedkar is not given. So of course we can go with Ghure. But maybe they can ask a question with Ambedkar in the options and Ghure may not be there. Then you can answer Ambedkar also. Okay, so try to remember this Caste and Race in India. Both Ghure and Ambedkar have written book in the same name, but Gure's book was published in 1932 and Ambedkar's book was published in 1946. Okay. So our last question. Who is known as the bourgeoisie Marx? And the options are Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, Talcott Parsons, or George Simmel. Who is known as the bourgeoisie Marx? And the right answer is Max Weber. Okay, he is famously known as the bourgeoisie Marx. So, okay, students, that's it for today. We discussed some of the important previous year questions from Unit 1. I hope it was very useful for you. So, see you in the next class. Until then,